This is the Swiss Army knife. It's well made, it can do dozens of jobs, and every model comes with a strong heritage. And this is the Nikon ZF, and although it's made in Japan, it has a lot in common with the famous multi-tool from Switzerland. When I saw this camera for the first time, I completely lost my head. Finally, a Nikon full-frame mirrorless camera that doesn't look like a DSLR. Then I looked at the spec sheet and thought, this is it. This is the camera that will solve all my problems. I was a big fan from day one. This camera is a lot smaller than you would expect from a full frame. The grip is shallow and the viewfinder does not protrude much from the back of the camera. Its compactness stands out even more when compared to the Crop Sensor ZF-C. The ZF body is thicker, but it helps with handling and stability in use. It's amazing what Nikon managed to fit inside. The full-frame 24-megapixel sensor is stabilized, the battery provides enough power for several hundred shots, and you can back up your work onto a second micro SD card. Add to that the latest processor, top-notch autofocus, and the best manual focusing aid system on the market. What's even better, they've put all this into a tough, weather-sealed, retro-styled body. The top and bottom plates were reinforced by strong magnesium alloy and the dials on top are made of brass, which means they will look even nicer over time. The dials are of a good size and not fiddly at all, and that can be said of every button and dial on the camera. Everything is spaced out with good tactile feedback and feels like it will last forever. This is topped up by a large and easy to use viewfinder with long enough eye relief and good magnification, which makes it nice to use for people wearing glasses. And the flippy LCD makes so much sense. It can stay hidden for stills, which helps to provide more of that analog feeling, or flipped out for shots at difficult angles. And because the ZF is also a capable video camera with IBIS, the flippy screen makes complete sense when you need to record yourself. It's a well-designed and very well-made camera. It's almost like Nikon decided to not cripple it in any way and instead equipped the ZF with everything they could while keeping the price at a reasonable level. It's no wonder this camera attracted so much attention after release, and I can report that it didn't disappoint in real use either. Nikon color science is up there with the best, and the combination of all 24-megapixel sensor and a new image processor puts the ZF image quality and capability right between the Z6 II and the Z8. Sometimes the sum of the new, old and borrowed parts is greater than the sum of the parts, and I believe that's the case with the ZF. Using the camera out in the field on a daily basis revealed a few things that need to be addressed. The first is the grip, or rather absence of it. When you hold the camera for 5 minutes, you think its flat body is okay, but try to use it for a couple of hours and you will feel it. The tension in your hands, the fact you have nowhere to place your pinky finger, and that despite using it with the light 40mm f2 lens, the setup is getting uncomfortable to operate. And I think Nikon knew this, and that's why the grip was added for free to the camera at the beginning of sales. But even if I was buying the ZF today, I would definitely pay a little bit more for the additional grip. I have used grips on my Leica CL, Fuji X-E3 and also the Nikon ZF-C. They help with handling the camera and I don't worry about dropping it. And I like the fact the grips can be removed. Modular design is better than one size fits all. I've seen some people complain about the second SD card slot being only for micro SD, and while it's tough to accept that it will be limited to UHS-1 speeds, it's good to keep in mind that some sacrifices had to be made. The camera is small for a full frame, and I would rather have this than no second card slot at all. That will make people complain even more. I've also heard comments about the ZF having both retro dials and a PASM selector. The issue should be that the PASM selector defeats the purpose of the dials. Once you set the camera in aperture priority and auto ISO, you don't need to touch the dials at all. They will be pretty much disabled, making them effectively redundant. I don't understand why this is a problem. First, the PASM selector is so subtle that it doesn't take anything away from the retro style of the ZF. Second, all you have to do is set it to manual and suddenly the dials control exposure triangle. That's perfect for landscape, studio or product photography. And third, the last selection of the PASM dial is auto. This is invaluable if you are traveling with your family, friends or even alone and want to return back home with some photos of yourself as well. It's the photographer's curse that we are never in the picture. and with the Nikon ZF, you don't need to explain anything to anyone. Just flip the selector to auto, hand over the camera and tell the volunteer to press the silver button all the way down. The camera will do the rest. I understand some people want a pure retro experience. Still, the issues I just described are minimal, borderline negligible and unimportant. It blows my mind that the only criticism I can come up with is that I have to buy additional grip and my second SD card will be too slow to store 10-bit video. Actually, there is one real downside, but it's not with the camera. I've already told you how great the Nikon ZF is. The problem is that this beautiful and well-built camera has a total of 2 lenses that can match its styling, size and weight. The 28 f2.8 and the 40mm f2 are the only lenses offered in the special edition retro variant. Both are good performers, and while styling is secondary to function, it is a pity that it's only these 2 lenses, plus maybe the Pancake 26 f2.8, that are small enough to not make the Nikon ZF front heavy and uncomfortable to hold. This is not a big deal for street and casual photography. These 3 lenses cover the majority of classic focal lengths, but I'm screwed if I want a compact and line 35 or 50mm lens. Nikon has a good selection of fantastic lenses in all the important focal lengths, but they are mostly too big and heavy to fit the ZF compact body. Just like most lens manufacturers these days, also Nikon are chasing performance at the cost of size and weight of their lenses. Spec sheets are everything in the age of internet comparison website and MFT charts. I would like to see Nikon releasing light and compact 35mm and 50mm f2 lenses in the retro styling of the 28 and 40mm. Or maybe we just need Sigma to solve all these problems by releasing their I-series lenses in the Nikon Z mount. Imagine the ZF with a lens that has a real aperture ring. Maybe I should start a petition. Anyway, this has more solutions with what's already available on the market. For example, Voigtlander has a nice selection of manual focus lenses for Z-mount that will work with all the manual focusing aids that ZF comes with. And if manual focus is not your thing, then I can attest that the 40mm f2 is what you will need for most street and casual photography situations. This lens is an instant classic. So let's hope that the Nikon ZF will be selling well and it won't meet the same fate as the mostly unloved and unlucky Nikon DF. It will be great to see Nikon updating this camera with, for example, the 45MP sensor from Z7, and good sales will also make it more enticing to release some compact autofocus lenses. But even now the Nikon ZF is pretty much the perfect full-frame street and casual photography camera. Why do I say that? Because in one device you get beautiful heritage design, modern internals, fast and accurate autofocus, manual focusing aids, strong video capabilities and high build quality. The ZF is like a Swiss army knife of cameras. It can do everything to a very high standard, and some things cannot be done with anything else. Like picking your teeth after you left a restaurant or switching from color to monochrome mode with one flick of a switch. You may not need it on a daily basis, but when you do, it's right there for you, ready to make your life a little bit easier. I own several of these little knives. I keep one at home, one in my car, and one comes with me every time I leave the house. I use them often, but I do not love them. They are a tool. If I was a knife guy, I would want a simpler, more beautifully crafted special edition knife to hold and behold. And it's the same feeling I ultimately got while using the Nikon ZF. It's so good, reliable and capable in everything that I can possibly need that I want to buy it. But I know I will not love it. The mojo is just not there. The Nikon ZF is a $2,000 camera that I was not feeling precious about. It looked and felt like it could take a beating. That's reassuring and freeing. I own the Leica CL that cost me less, and even after 3 years of frequent use, I still can't stop babying it. It feels precious. And I love using it. We need great tools that will do their job and don't get in the way, so we can play with the toys that bring us joy. I could sell all my cameras, including the one I used to record this video, and get the ZF instead. It would do everything I need with the advantages of full frame and the latest tech, but I know my spending would not stop there, because however great a job the ZF will do, it will keep me longing for a camera that is maybe less capable, but more fun to use. And while the ZF is not a camera I will love, I sure as hell want to have it close by. It's the best deal currently out there. And if its price tag rubs you the wrong way, you need to watch this video next, where I talk about its surprisingly good retro crop sensor little brother, the Nikon ZFC.